Paraguay, a landlocked nation nestled in the very heart of South America, holds a history as dramatic and complex as any on the continent. It's a story of ancient roots, colonial clashes, devastating wars, and a remarkable, enduring spirit of rebirth. To understand Paraguay, we must first travel back in time, long before European ships ever crossed the Atlantic. The story begins with the Guaraní people. For centuries, they inhabited this region, living in semi-nomadic communities. They were skilled farmers, cultivating maize, cassava, and sweet potatoes, and their society was built on a foundation of deep spiritual beliefs and communal living. Their language and their culture would become the bedrock of Paraguayan identity, a resilient thread woven through every chapter of its future. This world was forever changed in the 16th century with the arrival of Spanish explorers, hungry for gold and new trade routes. In 1537, a man named Juan de Salazar y Espinosa founded a settlement on the banks of the Paraguay River. He called it Asunción. It would grow to become not just the capital of Paraguay, but one of the earliest and most important Spanish cities in South America, earning the nickname Mother of Cities, as expeditions launched from here to found other settlements across the continent. But Paraguay developed differently. Its geographic isolation fostered a unique society where Spanish and Guaraní cultures didn't just collide, they merged, creating a distinctive mestizo identity that defines the nation to this day. A truly unique chapter in this early history was written by the Jesuit missions. Starting in the early 1600s, Jesuit priests established remarkable communities known as reductions. Their goal was to convert the Guaraní people while also protecting them from the brutal exploitation of colonial settlers and slave traders. These reductions became thriving centers of agriculture, education, and art. They were self-sufficient, highly organized, and prosperous. But their success and independence bred suspicion. In 1767, the Spanish crown, viewing them as a threat to its authority, expelled the Jesuits from its territories. Though the missions themselves were dismantled, their legacy of discipline, spirituality, and communal cooperation left a permanent mark on the Paraguayan soul. As the 19th century dawned, the fire of revolution was sweeping across Latin America. Inspired by independence movements in neighboring Argentina and beyond, Paraguay made its own bold move. In 1811, it declared independence from Spain. From this revolutionary fervor, one figure emerged to dominate the nation's destiny: José Gaspar Rodríguez de Francia. Known simply as El Supremo, or the Supreme One, he ruled as a dictator from 1814 until his death in 1840. Francia was an autocrat, no doubt, but his iron-fisted rule had a clear purpose. He sealed Paraguay off from the outside world, creating a truly isolationist state. His goal was to protect the young nation's fragile sovereignty from its powerful neighbors and forge a path of economic self-reliance. While controversial, his policies laid a foundation for national identity and independence that would be tested in the years to come. After Francia's death, the doors to the world began to creak open. Carlos Antonio López took power in 1844, ushering in an era of modernization. He invited foreign trade, built up the nation's infrastructure, established schools, and professionalized the army. His son, Francisco Solano López, succeeded him in 1862 and accelerated these efforts, dreaming of a powerful, modern Paraguay that could command respect on the world stage. But this ambition, this drive for influence, would ultimately lead the nation into the single most catastrophic event in its history. From 1864 to 1870, Paraguay found itself locked in a desperate struggle for survival, the War of the Triple Alliance. The conflict ignited over territorial disputes, and Francisco Solano López's attempts to assert Paraguay's power in the region. He found himself facing a powerful coalition of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. Despite some early victories fueled by incredible bravery, Paraguay was hopelessly outmatched. The war was an apocalypse. By the time it ended in 1870, the nation was utterly devastated. Its economy was in ruins. Huge swaths of territory were lost to Brazil and Argentina, and its population was annihilated. It's estimated that up to 70% of the entire adult male population perished in the conflict. It was a demographic collapse on a scale almost unimaginable, a tragedy that would haunt Paraguay for generations. The decades following the war were a long, painful struggle for survival. The nation had to literally rebuild itself from the ashes. This period was marked by political instability, with frequent changes in government, deep-seated corruption, and social unrest. Slowly, painstakingly, Paraguay began to recover. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the emergence of the country's two dominant political forces, the Colorado Party and the Liberal Party, which would shape its politics for the next century. Just as a fragile sense of normalcy was returning, another conflict loomed. In the 1930s, Paraguay was pulled into the Chaco War against neighboring Bolivia. Both nations laid claim to the vast, arid Gran Chaco region, a desolate landscape rumored to hold vast oil reserves. Outnumbered and less equipped, few gave the Paraguayans much of a chance. But fighting with a fierce determination born from the memory of past losses, the Paraguayan army achieved a stunning victory. The Chaco War, though brutal, had a profound psychological impact. It restored a sense of national pride and unity that had been shattered by the Triple Alliance War 60 years earlier. However, political stability remained elusive. The mid-20th century was a turbulent mix of coups and short-lived governments, culminating in 1954 with the rise of General Alfredo Stroessner. Stroessner would go on to establish one of Latin America's longest and most notorious dictatorships, ruling Paraguay with an iron fist for 35 years. His regime, known as the Stranato, brought a kind of cold stability and oversaw significant economic growth, particularly through massive infrastructure projects like the Itaipu Dam. But this came at a terrible price. His rule was defined by brutal political repression, the complete absence of free speech, and systematic human rights abuses. Thousands who dared to oppose him were imprisoned, forced into exile, or simply disappeared. By the late 1980s, the world was changing, and the pressure on Stroessner's regime was mounting, both from within and outside the country. In 1989, a coup led by his own general, Andrés Rodríguez, finally brought the long dictatorship to an end. Paraguay embarked on a new, uncertain journey toward democracy. The decades since have been a constant struggle against the deep-rooted legacies of the past: corruption, poverty, and profound inequality. But step by step, the nation has worked to strengthen its democratic institutions and open itself to the world. Modern Paraguay is a nation of fascinating contrasts, constantly balancing its ancient traditions with the demands of progress. Remarkably, the Guaraní language is not a historical relic. It is an official language spoken by the vast majority of the population, a powerful symbol of the country's unique dual identity that is virtually unparalleled in the Americas. The economy today is driven by agriculture, especially soybeans, and the immense hydroelectric power generated by the Itaipu Dam, a project once symbolic of Stroessner's power, now a key engine of the nation's future. From the sacred chants of the ancient Guaraní to the bustling energy of modern Asunción, Paraguay's history is a powerful testament to resilience. It teaches us that a nation's identity is not something that is simply inherited. It is something that is forged, tested, and rebuilt, time and time again, through unimaginable hardship, unbreakable courage, and enduring hope. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through Paraguay's incredible story. If you found this history as fascinating as we do, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the stories that have shaped our world. We'll see you in the next one.